Good morning, everybody. This is COOLA from Rawstocks. We are looking at our little breakout area here, and what do you know? We're at the bottom of the range here. We talked about it breaking outside of this range on Tesla, and boom. All right, so here we are. Good morning to everybody. Want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors real quick, Black Box Stocks and Gamma Edge. Without those guys, we would not be able to provide this data and this show to you every single day for free. So want to do a quick shout out to those guys. If you guys are interested in watching this live and not after the market opens, make sure you join our Discord. Links are in the bio. Okay, so you can see pressing below 300 here, right at that 298, 300 level. It's a little bit outside of range. I thought we'd get the test into that 312, 313 for that daily 200 kind of quickly yesterday, but it held. It held great. So a little bit shocked that we didn't see that move yesterday. It waited till after hours, and I think that has to do with a little bit of Elon politics. Okay, so that's definitely playing a role here on what's going on. But nevertheless, let's take a look at how we did yesterday real quick. So yesterday we talked about this breakout between this level. It kind of really just sat here on showing weakness all day and then ultimately shoved down. But we talked about the visit to 312 to 300 most likely, and then it did get that full extension to the bottom of the range. Take a look at NVIDIA yesterday. NVIDIA stayed in containment range, pressed up towards that 160 range, and really just kind of sold on. Or these are yesterday's. Let me see if I can pop this up real quick because I'm running a little bit late today. So let's see if I can get this plugged in today. Nope, it's not up yet. So we're a little bit below where I would say or getting towards that point where we might see some type of flip here on NVIDIA for a little bit of a short term. But it did stay in its containment range, kind of what we were looking for yesterday. This would definitely put it in danger of some type of squeeze, but we talked about this up here. Don't be surprised to see it sold on. Oh, excuse me. Let's look at SPX. Yesterday, midday, I was kind of looking at this, and it was looking, I said midday, it was probably mid-morning, it's right around here. So mid-morning, we're looking at this. We talked about how we could possibly see this little break above this consolidation range, make that push towards 6,200, and then see a little bit of a press down. But it was later on in the day, and we actually surpassed kind of my expectations that we were going to push over that 6,200 level. We got a little bit of a gamma squeeze out of it, especially on this double tap here. And so came back, touched this 6,200 level and really squeezed out, really flexed more towards the SPY level here for the top of our level at SPY. And ultimately we're seeing a sell down. So we opened up a little short on the market at 6,200, which is right down here. So we're going to see if this thing wants to get any continuation. It's more of a lotto than it is anything. It's just trying to check, see where we stand on that level. We're going to see if it wants to get some type of flush down. I think today we're going to find a balance, but let's take a look at it real quick. So macros on the day. We talked about this. JP talks at open. We have final manufacturing PMI and ISM manufacturing PMI staggered. Okay, so 9 o'clock's your big mover. You might see a little bit of a move off this final manufacturing PMI, but your real move is going to be coming with jolts and the ISM manufacturing here. So keep an eye on these here. This is going to give you insight for this one, but this could swing it right back. So you're going to have a ping pong day. You're going to open with volatility with JP talking, and then 15 minutes later you're going to have the PMI kind of insight data drop, and then you're going to have jolts drop. and construction spending as well. So this all kind of happens in the first 30 minutes. So there's going to be a ton of volatility. If it's not something that you can sit there and watch, then you need to have your your limit, your stop, and your target set, because it definitely can be, um, it definitely can be a volatile morning, definitely. So, okay, moving on from that. We see that this morning. Boy, I just realized I don't even have my Gamma Edge up for some reason. Quick shout out Gamma Edge, on speeding up their platform. This would have taken a while back in the day. Okay, so let's look at. I think. Oh man, I messed up there. Now you can see why I got all these auto corrections when you type these out. We're doing it live. Some people will get that, some people won't. Look at this IC here. Big, big, big short coming in. Was this today? Yep. Look at this. IC 62.35 to 617. Do not sleep on this. This is a big move here. Big, big move. You can see that this is ping pong right here all day long. You are buying this dip. 6170, right? 6170, is that what it said? 6170 to 6235. 6235. Okay. So this is the range it has. We're opening up near here. Okay. So this is the range we have. Let me double check this. 6170. Yeah, this is where we're at. So we're opening up near the low side of this range here. You can clearly tell we have goalpost here. It's not a ton of contracts today, but this is a significant IC here. This will be contained, I would say, with great certainty. And we might start to see it. I was going to say we might see it kind of squeeze over the top of that later in the week. That's kind of what it looks like. Like we have that possibility, but no contracts here. Look at this volume here. Nothing. More on the third than there is anything. It's just virtually a 6,200 wall. So to me, this looks like this definite buy the dip situation here. If you don't have anything like a couple weeks out or anything like that, and if you swing puts, it's a good time to take profits right here in this morning. This is a good check. If we break outside this range, it can create massive volatility. If something happens, right? PMI or whatever this morning kind of breaks us outside this range. It's going to sell off quick, but I think with the IC that's in place, I wouldn't be surprised to see it bought up, whether that's later on in the day or whatever, and return back to this range. Okay, wouldn't be surprised. All right, moving on to SPY for Confluence here. Not as defined here. Let me move these levels off here. Not as defined. I do kind of want to put this on here. Yeah, here we go. No, we got it. Give me a second. Stand by. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, so 619 is what we were saying. 619 to 614. Um, this will put us into this range right here to 614. This is our range. So this got us just like SPX, a little bit below yesterday's low. And we'll see if it wants to get bought up towards this range. So we're still in positive gamma territory in this range. This is definitely a buy the dip situation, but you're right in the middle of the range right here, right? So when you start talking about where you're at, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. We prefer to buy down in this range, right? When we talk about risk versus reward, look at the reward versus the risk, right? So this is where you need to minimize this. This is where you need to look at this and say, let's be patient. Let's be patient. Let's at least get the 615 visit. There's clearly, unless you got decent amount of money, you can just average, and avoid 0 day here, right? Then this is not the ideal point to buy. You're looking for a 615 visit, or you're looking down for a visit down to 614 and hold, which is about equivalent to what we're seeing right down here on SPX. And that is that we visit yesterday's low, and we kind of hold that. If we lose this, this will be interesting. Okay, so watch 6175 as a potential trigger. Like if we sell hard through 6175, it wouldn't be crazy to put on some type of lotto testing. Whoa, don't know if you guys heard that, but I almost lost everything. 4175 lost over here could trigger a pretty large sell. I would imagine you would see it kind of test down to the likes of 6130 here, but I don't think this is going to happen. I'll be buying the dip down here towards yesterday's low, and just keeping it small sized and seeing if it wants to squeeze all the way back up towards that 6325 range. But as of right now, we're seeing negative data kind of sitting over the top of this thing, so it's going to be just ping pong in here. As you can see, this is flipped, so this is the telltale signs of a IC here, and we're going to see if this thing wants to be just contained. Let's take a look at NVIDIA real quick. Pull up the chat. Good morning, everybody. I see everybody started joining the chat. Okay. 160. We're at 160 call dominated position here. It's pretty positive here at $1.3 million for the net gex here, but we talked about this where it wasn't really starting to see some extended. We weren't really seeing extended targets here. 165 to the max to the upside here, but you're really starting to see this thing kind of sputter out. And I hate to say it, but yeah, you're starting to see NVIDIA sputter out towards this 160, 165 area. Now, if we break out of this little consolidation, or maybe when we see a little bit of a pullback towards this 152 area, will we see this thing try to, will we see dealers start to reposition for a move up? Absolutely, that can happen. But where it stands right now, we're seeing a transitional spot near this 155 to 152 area. And this will act as support down into this range. So watch for, again, kind of like what we're seeing with SPX, test of the lows, get bought up. This is all by the dip area here. Break outside 152 can create volatility, but this is all by the dip area here. Okay. So when you look at this, right, this would look like your wedge here kind of breaking out. People sell down. Everyone's short because they see this wedge. We know that there's positive data here. This is why your typical technical analysis gets bit all the time. People are like, oh, hey, look at this wedge here. we're breaking outside the trend line. We're going to go short, and we're going to see this thing break all the way back down towards this consolidation down here. Well, chances are it's probably not going to happen because we know that dealers are positioned here at 155. So as this kind of lines up here, let me make this a little. I don't really use trend lines a ton. So as this kind of has its day here, and we kind of see it breaking out from here, people are going to go short, 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 short. Well, it's fine, but they're, they don't know where to go. 155, we see that there's a little demand here, but clearly, if you're just going purely on technical analysis, your demand is down here, 151. But we know that dealers are positioned here at 155, looking to buy the dip here and see if they can press it to 160. This is why standard technical analysis, doesn't really help you. But when you imply and review through data, through dealer data like we do, this is what helps you understand where to buy, where not to buy, and is the most effective way to trade. So we'll sit here and let this thing swipe 155. We'll watch it recover, and then we'll enter in looking to hold 155 and see if this thing wants to press up towards 160 when everyone's short on a wedge break, right? That's that Rawstocks. That's that Rawstock style right there. Yeah, you definitely need to be careful in regards to buying the dip with NVIDIA, because truth be told, we can crack 155 and go and test 152. We already talked about the strength of, virtually the strength of this is, well, let's say the peak of this is kind of fading, right? So we went for a mountaintop, now we're like on a mesa, and so we're kind of just plateauing here. We had a really strong amount of targets and they're just kind of fading. You expand this to a full complex here and you really don't see any substantial targets. 175 starting to grow, 170 starting to grow, but 160 is really your kind of barrier here, and we haven't even got there. And so it's kind of interesting, but we'll see if this thing wants to expand past 160. But if it does, as of right now, it's just kind of like a 165 little gamma squeeze breakout and probably sell down from there. I wouldn't expect it to go get any type of continuation over the top of it unless it really was buzzing over the top of 165. And of course, or buzzing through 165. But truth be told, I think 160 is going to hold, and we'll see what happens there. So call dominated conditions, again, you're only looking to see, like, let's say we hit our liquidity down here at 155, watch the recovery over 155, or even watch some type of base be built here before you're comfortable with it trying to enter in, and looking for it to recover to 160. Now, again, over the top of 155, you're okay to go long towards 160. But if it starts breaking below 155, it's probably best for you to move out because you're in the middle of the range here. The ideal entry is down here at 152 in a transitional area, and look to buy this because your risk versus reward is a much better position, right? So you can say the bottom of our range has changed. So this is the bottom of our range. You can give it a little bit outside of our range, but look at your risk versus reward. It changes everything, right? So you need to be mindful of that. That's all I'm saying, Westy. Okay, let's move on to Tesla real quick. So we talked about this range here, this little sub range. We had a wide range, 350 to 300 yesterday. We talked about a sub range between 330 and 320, and watching that kind of break outside that consolidation, you'd see some type of continuation towards what we were talking about in the opening of the show here, which was the daily 200 visit, which was at 313, 312. We had a converging 50 daily there as well. There's a lot of confluence saying that we were going to get a bounce towards that level, or at least drawn towards that level, right? Under 320. Well, We surpassed that. We went to 300. So to me, this is likely to be a pretty substantial little volatility test. Okay. I'm going to pull this up real quick. You can see very much put dominated 300 big time put here. You're going to see a transitional area all the way down here at 270 in regards to where potentially people are selling puts. So net delta flips at 270, but other than that, people are truly shorting all the way down to 270 here. That's a full complex. Now we stay located in this week, or localized in this week here. We start to see 310 become it has a demand at 310, but it's not really as significant. Well, it is significant and it will grow actually, but 300 will actually be your probably demand here. As you can see, 470 negative 470.80 here, or God, negative 47,000 here. We see negative 41,000. I imagine that we'll see some people trim up here and we'll stand on 300 here. But I don't expect this thing to truly surge past 300 here. I do expect it to be bought up and at least retest this 310 area. This could be a pivot area for it. Forget the sub range at this point, so it doesn't really indicate anything like that. But, well, I mean, there's a transitional area here at 320. I think the more likely is that we open at 300. Let me switch to directional arrows. We open at 300. We likely test 310. We get sold on again at 300. We consolidate. If we break outside of 300, this thing's going to move, and it's going to move fast. Okay. This is like another little break like we had over here, right? When we break under 300 and people were freaking out and it sold all the way down to 272, again, that likely could happen. Okay, this super high volatility sell off here, that's the same thing that can happen here, because our expectations are that 300 will hold, but we're seeing a slide all the way down to a transitional area where we see 270-ish start to kind of flip in regards to some level of support there. But if we see this break, this would be quick. But my best guess here is that we're going to test into that 310 to 312 area with the daily 200 in that level. We're going to make a decision whether it wants to break back through there and then retest our 320 zone. At that point, we're going to create, at that point, you can look at that and say, hey, we can go short here again for a visit towards 310 or a visit towards 300. Okay. This would be your short area. This is going to be your pivot area here at 310, your early pivot zone. Okay. So you're going to open, you're likely to retest this pivot zone here. And we're going to see if it wants to break through that or if it wants to, here, let me draw this out a little bit different. This would be your bearish move off of here. So we open. I got to put this more in lines with what we're seeing, right? And time frame. So our bearish move here would be a rejection off the 310. We could also see a that's not what I want to do. Let's go clone. Okay. Not my best move on that. I haven't used these. I keep drawing everything. But anyways, so there's a test here at 310 early. I think you'll likely find that sold on. And we'll see if it wants to consolidate back here at 300. At that point, I don't want to really get crazy, but you could also see a move up towards 320. So watch for this consolidation here and then watch for that move. But there's definitely, I'm going to take this off here. The green move would be here, and then we see a test up towards this is the bullish move here, right? The bullish move here is basing off, we buy off of this 300 range and we get hung up at 310, but we ultimately push through and go and test 320. At that point, we could see a sell down slash consolidation at that 320 level. I do not expect us to move over top of 325 at all. I do expect us to see some type of level of test at 310. And then maybe we see that bearish sell down before we see some type of recovery at 320. There is a possibility that we just hang at 300. If we just hang at 300 and we break below this, this will increase volatility and you will see a spike outside this range. And it doesn't surprise me to see us test the out of money average over here for a 293 visit or a 281 visit, right? So watch this to be anything outside this range will be a high level volatility move, moving very fast in regards to this, because it's going to be outside the expectations. Okay, so kind of give us our insight for that. I'm still, relatively bullish on Tesla, but you have to respect the daily 4. We're closing underneath deeply now. We're closing potentially underneath our 312, or excuse me, our 200 here, our daily 50, our daily 90, our daily 20. There's a lot that we're closing underneath of, but at the same time, we've seen this level tested multiple times in this 270 area, and it's always been bought and moved up. So it's been a key area here. I think it's probably going to be buy the dip situation before you see maybe a retest. I don't think this thing will just continue to slide towards 220. I do not think that's going to be the case, at least at this moment. This moment right now, we're still seeing a call-dominated Tesla. And so we'll see if this thing wants to retest into that 320 and 350 area in the upcoming weeks. If you guys are interested in the trend box, I'm hoping they let me keep it on here, because when you combine different indicators, TradingView doesn't like it. But I uploaded and got Trendbox going on TradingView. This is a free little indicator that we include. Oh, it's not what we include. I uploaded it to TradingView, so you should be able to go and view this. This is a containment thing that we use for the VIX implied that we talk about. So if you're interested in using that, as you can see, the containment levels, this is VIX implied. It also helps with trend. As you can see that we're well above our trend, and you can see how this data is used to understand kind of where we're at in pricing, and maybe the distribution that we talk about. So you can see this purple is the daily forward. You can see how we use that for distribution with VIX implied ceilings and floors. It's very useful. So trend box on TradingView if you're interested. Lastly, we have a promo going on right now. If you guys are interested in this and joining us and kind of seeing what we do, make sure you follow us on Rawstocks LLC. That is on most social medias. It's Rawstocks LLC. And then also join our website at rawstocksllc.com. Use the link in my bio. Use promo code $1 is a promo code we're doing to help traders out there that are a little bit lost, don't really know what they're doing, and we're giving them a low cost entry to at least visit and see what we do. So that is promo code $1, the number $1 at the link in my bio. If you guys are interested in that, then great. If not, that's okay. But anyways, this is going to be it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, we'll catch you later.